1, 2, testing. Mabuhay and welcome back to the channel. My name is Tez Milan. I am a Filipino-American creative who is on a mission to do a deep dive into my lost Philippine heritage, to learn as much as I possibly can and to share that with you. Because today, the day that this video is launching, is April Fool's Day, I thought that I would talk about a predominant Filipino comedian who has not only made the world laugh, but also is on a mission to share as much of the Philippine culture as possible. And his name is JO KOY. It's not only of recent that he's been sharing the bits and bobs of the Philippine culture with a wide audience. He's been doing this since he started his stand-up comedy career in 1994. Joe, who is about to round out his 51st birthday this June, was born to an American father who was in the Air Force and a Filipina mother who met Joe's father while he was stationed in the Philippines. They moved to Washington, where Joe was raised in Tacoma, and that's where you could say that Joe started his comedic career. He jokes about this in his Netflix special that when he was a little boy, he would reenact Michael Jackson's famous moonwalk. And his mother would always tell all of their friends and all of their family, anytime that she could, that he was an amazing dancer and performer. And so she'd say, hey, do the moonwalk. Now I can relate to this because as a young child, my mother also would carry a karaoke machine to all of our parties and to all of our family get-togethers. And I'd have to get up in front of everybody with a microphone and my big poofy Madonna-esque skirt and sing every single song that I had been rehearsing with my mom.
Filipino moms predetermine what their kids are supposed to be when they grow up. And you know I'm not making this shit up.
After Joseph graduated from high school in Tacoma, he moved down to Las Vegas to attend UNLV, the University of Las Vegas, where he then soon dropped out in order to pursue his stand-up comedy career full-time. I can only imagine the amount of stress and pressure this must have put on him and his family, because it's not really typical for a young Filipino to be dropping out of college in order to pursue a career in comedy.
I told my mom I wanted to be a comedian. She cried.
Usually there would be some back and forth in terms of like, well, is this the right career choice? Is this the right thing for you to be doing?
Why do you want to be a comedian, Josep?
As Joe mentions oftentimes in his stand-up, you should become a nurse. For me, it was you should become a lawyer, you should become a singer, which is also kind of bizarre in and of itself because it's not a professional career that most Filipinos are going after to be a singer, but that was just the one thing that my mom put a lot of emphasis on as I was growing up.
It wasn't your dream. That was your Filipino mom's dream.
But still, Joe forged ahead, left his collegiate career, and pursued comedy. And thank goodness for that, because he's just become the biggest thing since sliced bread with all of the things that he has accomplished thus far. After doing coffee houses and open mic nights, as one does when one is starting a comedy career, Joe then got to star in his own show at the MGM Grand Hotel. He then rented the Huntridge Theater to perform in his own show, and he went door to door selling tickets to get people to see him. I recently saw Joe live in concert here in Phoenix, Arizona, and there were some really spectacular moments that happened during that show. Not only was it one of the funniest nights that I have ever been to with a comedian, it was the coolest thing to see so much diversity, so many people of different backgrounds coming to see this comedian who is not only making them laugh, but also sharing so much about the Philippine culture with them. We couldn't quite figure out how to get to the seats because there's a roundabout and only one way that you could actually access our seats. And we look up and there's this guy who's like shoving popcorn in his mouth. He's got a hat on and he's like, "Oy, you need to go around, go around." My girlfriend, who had lived in the Philippines when she was a young girl, she just started cracking up because she's like, yes, of course, the Filipino Tito means uncle in Tagalog, the Filipino Tito is the one who's gonna help us get to our seats. Joe shared a story during his concert in Phoenix, the first Netflix special that he did in 2017 called JO KOY Live in Seattle. He went on stage with tears in his eyes because he found out that Netflix still said no to purchasing the special. They were concerned that nobody would get it. He basically paid for everything to make the show as awesome as possible. He was even like giving out tickets just to fill seats. He put everything on the line. He was like, yeah, I was like crying in the wings, and then I went out and nobody had any idea this whole show was gonna bankrupt him if Netflix didn't buy it. He went through with the show. He went to Netflix with the show in his hand and he said, watch this. You aren't gonna wanna miss this. After being told no so many times by Netflix, he still went to them and said, I have something that is gonna change everything, not only for me, not only for you, Netflix, but also for the Filipino people. And they bought it. And it became one of the biggest comedy specials that Netflix has to date.
You know how much a comedian makes in the Philippines? A chicken and flip-flops.
He also told us that he had a special on Netflix come out in 2020, JO KOY in His Element. It was filmed in the Philippines.
I finally brought Netflix to the Philippines. Mahal kita.
Netflix put together a special just for JO KOY to go back to the Philippines and film with all of his friends who are Filipino, who had never been to the Philippines before, so that they could all perform and share their culture with a wider audience. Then JO KOY brings out his dad.
It's my dad right here.
And I had no idea that his dad had retired in Phoenix. Now every time I drive the streets, I'm like, where's JO KOY's dad? Where's JO KOY's dad? He brought his dad out and he's like, this is my dad. I'm so proud to be able to share this with him, to do this with him here. He introduced his dad to the crowd and the crowd went absolutely berserko. And then he's like, yeah, but you know who one of my best friends is? And I'm like, oh my God, who's he gonna bring out? Wanya Morris from Boys to Men. Wanya came out, they sang the Boys to Men hit, I'll Make Love to You, and Wanya killed it. I mean, he killed it. Killed it. And in the chorus, like, Joe's singing along, and I'm just like, oh my God, Joe can sing. Like, Joe can sing. Joe's got it all. Just like most Filipinos, we can dance, we can sing, and we can act. And we love to laugh and eat. We love to eat too. Take notes, we love to eat. JO KOY has only just begun. In 2022 alone, he will put out his first major film, Easter Sunday. That movie stars Filipino heavy hitters like Tia Carrera, Lou Diamond Phillips, Ava Noblezada, who is the new Miss Saigon, and even big comedic stars like Tiffany Haddish and Jimmy Yang. His TV comedy series called Josep has already started filming.
I'm feeling it. Look at that face. Oh, this is gonna be a good scene. Am I right, Kimmy?
You are right.
About to shoot.
Very exciting.
Let's go. Hello.
Hey,
last day. But the last day of many more days.
Yay! So happy. Oh, the show is going to be based on his family. When the auditions went out and they were searching for the people who were going to be playing his family members. So yes, this is the perfect way for us to tell our stories and to share just how special and fun and wonderful the Filipino community is. And what's really cool is that each of these major projects are all connected to the Philippine heritage. Chelsea and Joe. What did I see that they call them now? You know how like they put together Brangelina and I forget what is, how many, okay, wait, Ashme, Spetterline, Benifer, Taco, and the list just goes on. Chelsea Handler and JO KOY are now known as Choi, which is so beyond rad. I about died when I saw Chelsea Handler's video. She's naked and has no poles. She's like jetting down this mountain and she's just like, you know, bouncing around in all of her like nakedness. I just love that she's wearing the Filipino flag on her back. And then like JO KOY comes around, you know, he comes by and he's, you know, got his flags and everything and he's like, what's up? I did a remix of myself skiing. I like try to mirror what's happening with Chelsea in all of her glory and me, I'm like completely covered up. You can't even see it's me. It's the coolest thing. I mean, they are always taking photographs with each other. They're posting about each other. They are so in love. He mentioned that they had been friends for like, I don't know, like 20 years. Totally platonic. And then just recently, last year, they posted that they had gotten together. Because he's so passionate about sharing the Philippine culture, he's also getting her involved. They're doing really fun bits. There was one post that I saw where he was like teaching her how to make rice.
So today we are making one of Joe's favorite recipes. He's gonna teach me how to cook, Filipino style, so that I can get some handle on things in the kitchen.
Yeah.
What are we making?
You're gonna make a very famous dish called rice.
Oh.
Just a bowl of rice.
Wait, that's not.
What better way to celebrate your 50th year than putting out a movie, TV series, having a world tour, getting together with your best friend? Jo Koy's living the life. And on top of that, he is advocating big time for the Filipinos. Thanks, Jo Koy. Thanks for giving me somebody to talk about on April Fool's Day. Have a good one. Don't fall for the jokes. Don't eat yellow snow. Thanks so much for joining me for this really fun and inspiring episode about Jo Koy. I hope to see you next week. I'll actually be filming from New York City. Woo! Until then, paalam, goodbye! Just know that every time I say mabuhay on camera, I'm thinking of Jo Koy, who says mabuhay. Mabu. Hi. Mabuhay!